This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both here to talk about the Summer Garden Walk. I have Kay Breckenridge and Linda Sansom. Good morning and welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
So Kay, this is the second year in a row now you're doing the garden, Alpena Garden Club is actually doing the garden walk.
It is. Thanks for having us on. I really want to publicize this because we have 6 wonderful gardens this year. The garden walk last year was great, and so we decided, okay, I guess we can do this again. And we have, instead of being on the lake, like your garden was, we're going a little bit inland, and we're going to Out 32.
Okay, and it looks like you have four gardens off 32,
Right.
and then 2 in the city.
That's right.
Okay, and Linda, your garden is on this year. Are you excited?
Very excited.
And you know, talking to our guest that's waiting in the wings over there, talking about how much work gardening is, it's a ton of work.
It
but
is.
that's your reward for someone to come through and say, oh my gosh. I mean, like last year, I got cards in the mail after the garden walk and people calling me, people talking to me. Nancy, I loved your garden. You know, thank you, thank you. I reaped the benefit of that for the compliments that I had from everyone. So is that how you and Sam feel about your garden too?
Yes, it's a work of love is all I can say. I mean, we love doing it and we love planting it, and it just keeps growing and expanding, and we love seeing your yard. It gave me a lot of ideas.
Well, and that's the thing. You really do get a lot of ideas. Gosh, I can do that, or I can think of that. And you know, gardens can be huge. It can be small scale. They can be a backyard. They can be a few plants in the front. It doesn't have to be anything as grand as yours, because yours is very grand. But you know, it gives ideas. I mean, and I found out a lot about flowers that I never even knew about, different varieties. Or that one lady that came through, I always just called that a red hot pepper plant. She was, Nancy, that's not a red hot pepper plant. So I got to learn all the real names of the plants. So to me, that was very beneficial.
Yeah, and we'll have gardeners at the sites, and if people have questions, then our garden club members can answer those questions too. And I like what you said about the variety of gardens, because in the city gardens, we have a smaller garden, the Tom and Judy Hart garden,
Okay.
small backyard perennial garden, and a beautiful manicured front yard lawn that Tom works really hard on. So that's an example of a smaller place. The Titus Garden in town also is wheelchair accessible, and so they have lots of raised bed gardens and vegetable gardens, fruit trees. And then as you go out 32, there are 2 well-established gardens, country gardens off of 32 on Pine. That's
Okay.
the Snyder Garden and the Cataract Garden.
Okay.
And then the veterinary garden at Schweitzer's has a kind of a memorial garden in the back and a mural, Rainbow Bridge mural on the back
Okay.
of the building, and that's new. And then, my goodness, I just saw Linda's garden last week, and it's astounding. It's 15 miles out.
Okay.
So keep going out because it's so worth it. It's
Yeah, you'd have to see this garden
gorgeous
to believe it.
And then AJ's farm, Berry Farm, is across from there, and AJ's is going to offer a discount to
Ooh.
their products. So it's going to be well worth it to take that drive.
Yes, it is. And now, so it's Saturday, July 21st from 10 to 3. We can get tickets at Neiman's in Alpena and Pratt's Gate stores, or any garden club member.
No, only
No?
those 3
Only-
places.
okay.
And then there'll be a few tickets available at the gardens, but the garden club members aren't selling the tickets themselves. We want
Okay.
to keep it compact, sort of, so it's
That's
there.
a good idea, too. So give me an idea what some of the proceeds are going to go for.
Well, as you know, we work on city gardens, and our mission is to beautify the city. So really the money all goes back to buying mulch and plants and perennials and the seeds and soil that we use when we plant the gardens at ACC. In February, our garden club, some of the garden club members work at the Madeline Briggs room there. It's a little garage, actually, greenhouse.
Yep.
And so we plant, and then in May plant all the annuals on Johnson Street.
Okay.
And we work on the library garden. We work on State Police Post and senior citizens, the boxes on the bridge, the little planter in front of Thunder Bay Theater, the butterfly garden at Duck Park.
Okay.
And I hope I didn't leave something out. I might have. And of course the ACC planters too. We do that.
Well, you know, Duck Park, that's amazing how that is too. And I don't think I ever go by there that I don't see someone walking across the bridge or looking through the gardens.
Isn't that a great place?
It is. It's so beautiful. And then when all the flags are up, oh my goodness, it gives you goosebumps from the start to the...
Yeah, that was just gorgeous.
It
I took a
was.
video of that coming along. I want the state police post too. We do the boxes in front of the state police post.
And just that park alone. So now I know your garden club is very busy. If someone's interested in becoming a member, what do they have to do?
Well, that would be great. We have, you can come to 2 of our meetings before you need to sign on to be a member.
Okay.
And it's usually the first Monday of the month, 11 o'clock. This coming, because it's 4th of July, it's going to be on the 9th.
Okay.
We're meeting at the 19th hole, so come at 11 o'clock, get to know us, see what you have to do. We're a working club, so you must be able to work on one of the city gardens.
Okay.
And do that. And we love to see newly retired people because there's a lot of gray-haired people in the garden club who are maybe aging out. And so we love that energy of a person who's newly retired and said, oh, I have all this free time now. I love to do something, finally, to
And
do
you don't have
something
to be a
fun.
grand gardener either.
Oh, no, because when I joined,
Yes, I remember.
just asked people, come to my garden and see what I could do to make it better. And I still have a really hard time telling what plants are. So I count on the master gardeners in the club to be able to know that. So.
Okay, so once again, Saturday, July 21st from 10 to 3, 6 wonderful gardens. Oh, and also individual discounts at Black Sheep Pub, Austin Brothers Brewery also, in addition to AJ's Farm.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you both very much for being here. And Linda, I'm so excited to see your garden and
Thank you.
any changes you've made since the last time I've been there, and I'm sure you've changed it every week, so I'm sure it's going to be good. And thank you to the Garden Club 2K for what they do in the city. You're all volunteers, and you grow all those plants from seeds and make everything beautiful for us. So thank you all very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Eric Magnus Eubanks following these messages. Hi, welcome back. I'm with Eric Magnus Eubanks from Alpena County Library. Hi, Eric.
Oh, Nancy, how are you today?
I'm great. I don't have to ask you how you are. It's summer book programs going on. But
Yeah.
before we get started, I want to make a mention. The last segment, our guest mentioned all the places that they do gardens, and they do the library gardens.
They do the library gardens. They do a wonderful job on the library gardens. They're looking great this year. Kay, who is one of your guests, I see about 3 or 4 times a week, either pulling a weed or watering something, and you know, it's a great service that the garden club does for the community. You know, it looks so
It does.
good,
Very
because
welcoming.
of their hard work.
And I forgot to mention that those gourds on the table were painted by Linda Sanson. You'll see them all through her garden on the walk. And also there's all kinds of prize raffles. So people that go have to register for prizes.
Yeah, and it's really worth your time to do it, and you can make a side trip to the library to see what they're doing with that one. So you know, add a stop to the library, to the
Yes.
garden tour, and have a great day.
And you really probably don't need any more people there, but I know you're doing speaking about walks, you're doing a historical Alpena walk.
Yeah, this is a project we've had in the works for some time, and our special collections does a lot of things to promote the history of Alpena County. And one of the things that we've been trying hard to do the last several years is to find ways to get what's inside our archives out into the community. And Bob Lingus, our historian, does from time to time history walks, but we thought, well, maybe there's a way of bringing, you know, Bob's knowledge and bringing what's in our collection and making it available to people. And so we've created an online walking tour of downtown Alpena. It's an app that you download, and it works by your phone's GPS.
Okay.
And so you start at the fountain on the library property, and you can go any way that you want, but there's 18 different stops downtown.
Okay.
And as you get close to each one, you'll hear Bob will give a narration on
Yay.
that thing, and then you'll see some historic photographs, and so you'll see things like City Hall, the Armory, the 2nd Street Bridge, some of the historic old buildings downtown, and you'll learn more about the history of those things. So we're really excited. There's information on the library website, www.alpinalibrary.org, or if you stop into the library, we have a nice brochure which explains how to download the app and find the tour, and we think people really like it. We'll also have copies of the brochure at the tourism office.
And what I like is you can go whenever you want.
You can go whenever you want. You don't have to do the whole thing at once. You can go in any direction you want. So if, say, you wanted to stop off at Scoops, Scoops is a nice halfway point for the tour. You can stop, or if you want a little jolt of coffee,
the Old Owl, which it's going to be renamed now, I believe, and there's so many places downtown you can stop.
Yeah, it's a short, it's a small area, but there's a whole lot in it.
Sure is.
And the history of our community, it's amazing.
It is.
And we wish it were better known than it is, and we think this is an easy way to do it. It's something that the whole family can enjoy together and go from place to place. So we're really excited by this.
Okay. And Summer Book Club.
Summer Book Club is always with us. We kicked off on June 26th. We have, as of right now, close to 600 people signed up for it, which is great. We encourage the kids to read 700 minutes during the summer. That works out to not quite 9 hours of reading, but it's basically aimed at getting people to read about 20 minutes a day with their kids during the summer. We also have added this year something new, is a teen program. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and just our last program we did with Family Enterprise on making your own. There's a rock and roll theme, and so the teens got to design their own rock and roll shirts and do the screen printing. We had close to 20 teens show up for that, which is really good for a first-time program. And we've got some films, we've got some crafts. I'm a little nervous about the one we have coming July 18th, which is a ukulele jam. So I can't decide whether I really want to see that or want to be out of the building.
Yeah, because they'll be kind of close to your office.
They'll be close to my office, and dueling ukuleles. It's what you call either a hit or a miss, but I'm sure it'll be a hit.
Well, and I guess I heard the last time that your person was here on my show, we talked about that, Jessica Luther. We talked about that. She said ukuleles are like the new things. All kids are getting them, and they're learning how to use them.
They're a very easy instrument to learn. They're relatively cheap, so it's not like back when you and I were young, and everyone got either a $300 guitar that they played once and left in the closet, or
this is too hard, my fingers hurt.
So a ukulele is much less expensive, and it's easier to learn how to play, and so and we think that's good for kids too, to have that experience playing something for themselves. And if it grows into something else, well, so much the better.
Hopefully it will. And the big carnival is coming up?
The big carnival is coming up August 1st at the Aplex. We've got a few more tricks up our sleeve this year, and each year we bring something new into it, but we've moved it to the Aplex because it has air conditioning, and this summer that looks like that's a very smart
decision.
move. So
And the date again is?
Wednesday, August the 1st,
Okay.
from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And I'm sure you still need volunteers.
We always need volunteers. Also need volunteers for the summer activities. So
Okay.
if you want to volunteer, just give a call to the library at 356-6188 and ask for Mary if you're
Okay.
interested in volunteering for the program, or either Mary or Brenda,
Okay.
and they'll be happy to help you.
Now we're out of time. I just want to take a quick moment to thank you and your staff for all the wonderful things you do, the outreach programs, the networking throughout the community, making all of these wonderful things available to us that normally wouldn't be available in a small town library. So thank you very much.
Well, we're proud to serve our community.
Thank you. Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster. I'm president of Alpena Community College, and I'm very pleased to have as our guest this morning Rebecca Ann McMaster, my daughter, APS graduate, and a graduate student. Welcome, Rebecca.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be here today.
So Rebecca is home for a month or so during the summer, and it's a delight to have you home. And I'm just curious, as you come into town with fresh but knowledgeable eyes, what do you see in Alpena?
So I see in Alpena a vibrant and growing and booming city. For the past 5 years now, when I did my undergrad and now a year in between, I've lived in Chicago, and I've lived in 3 separate but very interesting neighborhoods and gotten to know their communities. And I find in Alpena, the pieces of Chicago that I love the most are growing up in Alpena right now. You have so much energy and so much delight and so much joy in one place. And it's amazing to see that with fresh eyes again.
Wonderful. Boy, what a lovely statement that is. So you are a graduate of Alpena Public Schools, as all our children were.
I
And
certainly am.
as a parent, I was very satisfied, more than satisfied, with the schools and your experience.
Yeah, so I graduated from college. You know, I think APS set me up, especially high school, in a very good way to tackle the rigors of a formal collegiate education. APS also gave me many opportunities to sort of become more involved in the community and take more of a leadership role. In fact, I spent a lot of time in this studio as a knowledgeable participant, and which gave me a lot of the confidence I needed to stand out in a bigger crowd in Chicago and in college as well.
Absolutely, and you did some very fine work over at the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
Yes, you know, when I mentioned sort of the delight and the growing of Alpena, I think it's all really centered around the Marine Sanctuary. I remember distinctly when that opened and how exciting it was to have this space where we preserve nature and our history and sort of celebrate Alpena as a place and a time, instead of it just being, you know, a place to go to school, go to McDonald's. You know, we have something that's very focused and very unique to us. At Thunder Bay Marine Sanctuary, I worked on the glass bottom boat, gave tours, got used to speaking in front of people and being loud and proud and passionate about where I'm from, which was an amazing experience.
Yeah, well, I think they were delighted to have you. I still see you're in one of their promotional videos.
Yep.
And you had I distinctly remember you meeting Dr. Sullivan, head of NOAA and the first woman to walk in space.
Yes, that was a transformative experience as a young person. I was maybe 15 or 16 at that time, and to see a woman who was strong and smart and capable and very successful was an amazing experience, and someone who valued also my insights as a young person was very nice.
She really did. You were there with a group of us, and we were striving to say something deeply meaningful to her, which she hears people do on a daily basis. But I think what you had to say and what she allowed you to say to capture a young person's perspective on the sanctuary in Alpena, I think, said a lot about her. And you stood and delivered.
Well, I'm proud to say that I did.
Outstanding. So let's talk a little bit about, you went from APS to DePaul.
Yes.
And that's Why DePaul?
So I chose DePaul because I wanted a little bit more of a bigger city, a bit of a change of pace. It seemed like a fun experience to go and live in Chicago, but still very Midwestern. Like I could take some of the skills I had learned in a smaller town and go there and make a difference. I graduated from DePaul last year with honors, with a degree in philosophy and political science, where I focused on sort of the ethics and the way that we as people can live in communities together. And I think my interest in community was started in Alpena, so I owe a debt to them as well. My thesis should be dedicated to Alpena because it shows how you can grow up and how you're molded by your community.
Yes.
And Alpena certainly has molded me.
Yes.
And then I took a year off. I worked at a small private Catholic school in Chicago, got really invested in their community as well. Learned how, even in the biggest cities, and even as Alpena grows, we'll still find those pockets of community within ourselves. And I am next year going to be going to the University of Chicago to get my Master's of Divinity to focus on intercultural and interfaith community engagement.
Wonderful.
So it all started here.
Yes, indeed. University of Chicago is a wonderful school, internationally known, and a beautiful campus. You had an interesting a story about your admissions process, or places you applied to, is what I should say. So tell the viewers a little bit about that. We got a couple minutes left.
So I applied to 4 places. I applied to Union Theological Seminary, which is a subsidiary of Columbia University in New York City, University of Chicago, Harvard, and a little university in North Carolina called Wake Forest, where my older sister goes to school. I got into all 4 of them. I got money from all 4 of them, and it ended up being a decision for me between Harvard and University of Chicago. And it still is unbelievable to me that just like a normal girl from a small town can go and get into Harvard.
Indeed.
If I can do it, anyone from here can do it. So I felt very proud walking around Harvard this past spring, making my decision, even though I didn't decide to go there.
You turned Harvard down.
I turned Harvard down. You too, anyone growing up in Alpena right now, you too can turn Harvard down.
That's my favorite part of the story, I have to confess.
Same,
so, yeah, we had a wonderful weekend walking around Cambridge and seeing that world out there. And yeah, I was quite proud of you. And the idea that somebody from Alpena, who's bright, motivated, and forward-looking and leaning into life can get into a place like that, it's mind-boggling, and to a parent especially. So we have about 45 seconds left. I'm just curious, a young woman like yourself, is a type of person that Alpena would love to have come back, for the next 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
What do people in your position look for in deciding where they want to settle and raise a family and make a career?
Yeah, I think we're looking for growing and interesting and vibrant places where there are things to do during the day and things to do at night. I also think we're looking for diverse and open and accepting communities. And so that's just a big thing that I think Alpena is really growing into, is a more diverse and open and welcoming place to be.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yes. We appreciate it. Becca, nice to have you home.
It's great to be here.
Thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.